If you've been trying to learn how to false chord scream and you keep hitting a wall, this video is for you. Because I spent 4 years failing at this. 4 years of coaches, courses, tutorials, and practice sessions that led nowhere. And if you had told me at the start of that journey I'd eventually figured out, I genuinely would not have believed you. So this video isn't about technique. There's plenty of videos that I have on my channel about that if you're interested, but this is about the person I had to become to get through my false chord journey. So I'm going to tell you the story of how I learned to false chord scream, but divided into the traits that I had to develop in order to get there. So the first trait, willingness to look stupid. So when I first started, I was doing nightly walks around my neighborhood, barking like a dog. Arr, 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 literally, because that's what the tutorials said to do. I remember one night I turned a corner and came face to face with an old man, full eye contact, mid-bark. Rah! And that's where this journey starts, not with talent, but with the willingness to look completely ridiculous in the pursuit of something you want. Most people quit before they ever get going because they are embarrassed. So if you're stuck there, I can relate, but trust me, keep going, be resourceful. So if you have a car you can practice in, then practice there. Otherwise, you can do what I did and just go on night walks. So the second trait I had to develop, the ability to trust and then doubt. So let me explain. So after about a month of barking, I thought I had something. So I hired a coach, and it was my favorite screaming coach on YouTube. And I paid for probably about a month and a half of sessions. And at the end of it, they smiled and nodded and told me my technique was correct. And I was overjoyed. I felt like my goal was finally within reach. So I practiced every day for 2 years, just pretty much doing a dog bark and doing a deep sigh. And on the night of my 30th birthday, driving to my own celebration dinner, I recorded myself and listened back. And I nearly pulled over because at this point, I just couldn't let my denial take over anymore. It really just wasn't a false chord scream. And the reason I know that is because I was running out of air in 3 seconds, the distortion was dull, and it just didn't sound right. So 2 years, gone. And here's the character trait that moment demanded: the humility to start over. Not to spiral, not to quit, but I had to look back at 2 years of effort going in the wrong direction and say, okay, back to zero. What's actually true? And many people can't do that. That sunk cost is too painful. But that moment of humility was the turning point. So the third trait I had to develop, tolerating discomfort without running. So I found a new coach. He introduced me to a completely different part of my throat that I never used before. And the first time I tried using these tissues, it felt straight up like I'd swallowed glass. I literally coughed, my eyes watered, and I was like, "Are you sure this is it?" I asked. He said, "Yep." And he explained that the pain wasn't coming from my vocal cords, it was other tissues, and that they'd loosen up with time. And this was scary because every tutorial I'd ever watched told me that pain meant damage and to stop immediately. So what he was telling me flew directly in the face of that. So I had a choice: walk away and stay safe, or trust the process and push through something uncomfortable. I thought about my 15-year-old self. It was his dream. I couldn't let him down. So I practiced 6 hours a day. I sounded terrible. I felt terrible. At some points, I swear I even tasted blood. But 1 out of every 30 attempts, I got a tiny bit of distortion. And that was enough. The trait here isn't toughness. It's the ability to find signal in the noise, to hold on to that one moment of progress and let it carry you through 30 failures. The fourth trait. So the fourth trait I had to develop, knowing when to pivot without giving up on the dream. So several months later, the technique I was working on got better, but it still wasn't right. The distortion wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and I felt discouraged. So I bought another course, I hired another coach, I asked friends, and nobody had answers. So I did something I never expected to do. In that moment, I gave up on false chord screaming entirely. Not forever, but I just stopped chasing it. I shifted my focus to fry screaming, which I was already good at, and I tried to get better at that. In a weird way, I kind of made peace with the fact that, hey, maybe false chord screaming wasn't for me. But that's when everything changed, because one day, while messing around with a head fry scream, something crunchy kind of slipped out. Something that I'd never heard from myself before, and I almost missed it. But I'd spent 3 years developing the ear to notice it, and the patience to chase it, the experience to understand what I was feeling. And that tiny slip, that accident, I started to realize that was actually my true false chord scream. The trait that got me there wasn't persistence in the way people think about it. It wasn't white knuckling the same approach forever. It was the willingness to let go of the outcome long enough to try different things and without expectations. And through that, then the breakthrough found me. The fifth trait I had to develop: faith when there's no evidence. So even after I found the high false chord scream, I still couldn't go low. Every time I tried, the distortion disappeared completely. Ow! But at this point, something had shifted in me. I'd proven to myself that I could do the impossible. I could get this far. So for 6 months, I kept working on lowering it, trying different tongue shapes, different mouth shapes, different approaches with no audible improvement. None. But I kept going. Not because I had proof it would work, but because I now had faith in myself that it would. And eventually, it did. And I was able to get lower and lower. So what this journey all taught me. So I used to think that people who could false chord scream were just built differently, that some people had the gift and some didn't. I was wrong. The difference between people who unlock it and the people who don't isn't talent. It's not even practice. It's the character traits you're willing to build along the way. The willingness to look stupid, the humility to start over, the ability to sit with discomfort, the wisdom to know when to pivot, and the faith to keep on going when there's no evidence that you should. I'm not special. I'm just someone who refused to stop. And if you're somewhere in the middle of your own journey right now, feeling stuck, feeling like maybe false chords aren't just for you, then let my story be proof that the only thing standing between you and the breakthrough is the next version of yourself you haven't built yet. You got this. So if you want to get more technical and want to go deeper in learning how to fry scream, how to false chord scream, and even do other crazy sounds, then I made a free training you can get by clicking the link in the description, where it'll show you the anatomy and several different approaches on how to do these screams. It'll also show you how to get in contact with me for a free screaming consultation if you're interested in that. But spots are limited, so I can't promise that I have availability. So click that link in the description to get all that stuff for free, and I'll see you next time.